My boyfriend is pure talent from head to toe. He's a great person. He's a very kind and generous person, but not a naive one. There's this charisma about him that makes people drawn to him. My boyfriend is Alex Haupt.
For me to go from home to my restaurant takes me about 25 steps in total. The dining room has essentially become an extension of my home. I have a restaurant in Amsterdam called 101 Gowry. It's named after the home address of where I grew up in Sydney. It's very challenging for me to separate my private and my work life, but I think that's a reality a lot of chefs face constantly. It doesn't matter if you live 3 cities away or if you live upstairs.
A lot of sacrifices. What kind of sacrifices? Well, for me personally, I quit my job to work with Alex.
The days here they can be quite long, as I'm sure they are for most entrepreneurs. It's not an easy life, but it is the life that I've chosen.
It's a whole new life as well, because I've always had an office job, and now working at a restaurant, it's something that you have to really dedicate your whole life to.
It's a constant challenge because of how consuming and obsessive this industry can be.
Christmas, for example, this past Christmas, the restaurant was open, so obviously we all had to work. It was my first Christmas that I didn't spend with my family. So yeah, there's a lot of sacrifice, but there's also a lot in return too. And because I trust his instincts and I trust his talent, I decided to do this.
All right. Give me a second, I'll just double check.
Oh,
How you doing,
oh, you're so wet.
I know. I'm definitely different, I would say, most of the chefs in Holland. I didn't grow up here, which was very challenging when I first moved here, but then I've never been afraid of a challenge, and that's what really helped me create this concept at the restaurant, in that it was a real desire to create something that's really me, and that's often the biggest challenge of creating a restaurant. So I can really stand behind this and say that this is my restaurant. It's something that I created together with my team. Well, I'm really passionate about my bread. It's been something that I've been working on since I was 19, something like that, in Sydney. It was something that really interested me, where you could take the basic elements of flour and water and a little bit of salt, and then that turns into bread. And that's literally all that gets put into our bread here. And just those very basic ingredients and very simple yet complex principles of baking can create something that's so nourishing and beautiful. German, Japanese boy that grew up in Australia that now lives in Amsterdam. I like to think of myself as a bag of Skittles. Every color of the rainbow. Oh, good to see you. I know, my family's here from Australia, so we're gonna hang out with them on a boat. Yeah, classic tourism. The idea of 101 Gowry, of the restaurant, it is inspired by Dutch food history, food culture of Holland, and also using exclusively Dutch products. This was created in a way that was quite organic so that we could motivate our suppliers, growers, the people that work with us at the restaurant to sort of to get behind us and really promote the Netherlands as a country that should be known for its food and for its culture.
I was surprised when when he finally figured out what the concept of the restaurant was going to be.
Well, the idea came very organically, but then, of course, in order to get there, it was a stern decision to just go 100% stand behind it and go, we're going to do Dutch cuisine. I spend a lot of my time reading. I'm a bit of a nerd. Of course, with the tattoos and the moustache and everything, people would think otherwise, but you know, I am a nerd. It is what I am. So I spend a lot of time reading, and especially reading about how food and food culture was developed in Holland. And then inspiration can come from very basic places, like the fact that I myself love poffertjes. I mean, it's a very simple idea, but I really love them. So why not create a dish around that? And then down the line, that eventually became our first snack that we serve in the restaurant. Our second snack, we call it like a crab and rye taco. Through what I've learnt, rye is really important to Holland. It was one of the first products that was ever exported out of the country in the 1500s. And then to fill it, we ended up picking North Sea crab, which is one of the most beautiful products that comes out of the North Sea. And then we serve that with goat yogurt. So you hit 3 ingredients that are very, very Dutch.
I can understand why for the Dutch it is unusual, because obviously it's a person from Australia doing Dutch cuisine, like, you know, who is he and what does he know about this? Like, but he does know a little bit.
This kitchen's small. Well, a realtor would call it cozy. I mean, this is quite literally it. So we have 3 people that work in this kitchen, myself plus 2 others. And then during service, basically, I act as a runner. But then during the morning, I do the bulk of the mise en place. And yeah, I mean, this is it, basically. This is broken up into 2 very basic sections. Hot side, cold side. And that's it. The dish we're most proud of at the moment is our mackerel dish, and we just serve it lightly salted with a bouillon of piccalilli. It is traditionally English, but then there are multiple versions where you have the Amsterdamse piccalilli, and then you have also another one that's influenced by the Suriname where it's spicy. And then we've created one that's more light and elegant and a bit more feminine. And then it's served with a cream made from the salted and smoked head and bones of the fish. So metaphorically speaking, on the plate you have the whole fish. Alleen een viertje en een tweetje nu. Hij hebben één tweetje lopen nu.
Okay.
So that, yeah. And I think we can think about 2 lango voor tafel 10, denk ik. How I know I'm creating something good? It's a challenging question because I don't really know. It's quite tough because this restaurant still is in its infancy. We've only been open now for a few months. So you never know. I think they kind of, a few friends and colleagues of mine really gave me some great advice when it came to opening the restaurant. And what they told me was, first of all, you need to create a good concept and business model. And then you also need a little bit of the luck of the gods. New table at 2, coming in 10 minutes. It's a huge responsibility to have a restaurant, to have people working for you, and to make sure that it's not just my career that's in the balance of this, it's also the people that work for me that I have responsibility for now. And it's a lot of pressure, but that's something I take very seriously, and I will work as hard as I can to make sure that this place is successful for them, not for me.
Table 10, 1 Hollywood, 1 venison.
Yes.